This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Views expressed on the following program do not necessarily match those of WPSL. However, we are the culprits who've encouraged you all along to like and share them on social media and with all your friends and neighbors. It's time now for Joanne's World of Nutrition, brought to you by Nutrition World in the Krass Square, US 1 at Orange Avenue across from City Hall, and hosted by the one and only Joanne Seeger.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone's having an incredible morning. I am still kind of getting off a little bit of a sugar high. I did have a little too many mini Snickers and it's funny because my kids were getting reminiscent about, when I grew up, and they're like, Mommy, didn't you say that your dad, stole all your Snickers bars from your Halloween candy? You can have ours. And I just didn't want to break their hearts and not enjoy what they were offering me.
Hey,
So,
an excuse is better than no excuse.
Right? It's like the mini ones don't seem so dangerous, it's just a few little tiny things. But no, definitely feeling better now in recovery mode.
We can always say, oh, this is sugar-free.
Yep, but you know what I did? Oh, welcome back. Oh my gosh. I thought Greg was sitting in with me. So now I'm so glad you're back here with me. I missed you so much. And I'm so glad you look fantastic. So you are healing so well. So I feel really honored that you're here with me. And I definitely have missed you.
I take it that
I did run a few repeats because I just couldn't handle
yeah.
being in here without you.
I must have been, pretty lucky in a way, because I must have been pretty healthy all along.
Yeah,
to be able to heal like this.
Yep, to go through what you went through and to heal so fast.
I guess I could say a little help from the knowledge of the program, Nutrition World.
Thank you for the plug. I appreciate. And
listen to Joanne; it might save your life someday.
Well, just one little tool in a big toolbox, right? Yeah. All right. Well, everyone, we have my favorite guest on. So Burt Goulding Jr. is on with us. And I think last week they played a repeat of you on as well. So now he's live. So remember, call in if you have questions. He's a wealth of knowledge, 340-1590. Today's topic is going to be awesome. We're going to be talking about new subjects, but really call in with questions, right, Burt? We love questions. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
Yep. So obviously I still haven't given up caffeine, even though you suggest it on every show, because I'm super hyper. I don't know if it's the Snickers hanging in there or some caffeine, not sure, but I'll do my best to stay focused. Okay.
Okay.
So how are you, Burt?
Good.
Doing good? You having a good morning? Nice and early, 7:10 there. Now, I know this is just like such that dull question, but I am really curious. What's the weather there now?
I was just going to tell you, we have some rain this morning, and that is a big deal in Southern California. We just don't get rain that often. So,
do you guys go outside in the streets and start going, yay?
A little bit. I mean, nobody carries an umbrella because it rains so infrequently. So sometimes they just come in with the rain on them, and we're just grateful for the moisture. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. So, in Florida, so much humidity. It's like, oh, please, you'll just bring more mosquitoes. But it's true. Every area, right? The grass is always greener. Haha. All right. So, Burt, I actually had a few listeners come into the store this week, and they, listened to last week's show, which was a repeat. And they said, Joanne, we've been listening to you and Burt, and we love everything. And we've been taking the cell power. We're taking the super silica, but we're trying to tell our friends about this liquid we take. And then they just start fumbling their words. So I thought, who better than to start the show with the basic, I hate to say it, sales slick, so if a friend is trying to tell a friend how this liquid that they put a few drops in some water does all this amazing stuff, like, if it, like, maybe we can start at the beginning of like where, how long it's been around, how it was created, and why people feel so good on these few drops in their water. Does that sound good?
That does. And it's just as difficult for me, for family or friends that ask me about it. All I can really do is say, hey, here's some drops in a glass, here's some water, go ahead and drink this. And they go, oh yeah, that tastes good. That's all they're thinking about is the taste. But to try to explain to people in the United States that the body runs on energy, and that what you're really getting with Cell Power is a dietary supplement. You put 4 drops in an empty glass of 16 ounces or more, or in a water bottle. You can put it in with the water. But if you want the highest energy, you put the drops in first, you add purified or distilled water. And when you've got 16 ounces or 20 ounces or whatever your water container is, that's 1 serving. And you're adding electricity to your body, to the cells. And, we have over 50 trillion cells that make up of the adult human body. And each of those needs extra electricity. And so we're just not getting it from what we're putting into our body from food and beverages. Most of those are extremely low energy. So Cell Power has been around since 1949. So this is the 73rd year. We're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And that's what it's doing, is adding electricity, and it brings it up high enough that oxygenation increases, because your body can only maintain high oxygen levels if you have enough electricity, enough voltage running through your entire system.
Well, I do believe that we are understanding the word energy more than we have ever understood it. It's not such a voodoo word. And I think that especially my listeners do appreciate the fact that, we're not just thinking about energy when we're tired. We're realizing that everything is energy. And definitely the confusion still lies in how do you have made a couple comments about how strong the energy is of certain of the products. So of like Cell Power, or when you discuss even the new B complex, how is that determined? Like, how do you know the energy potential of when you do Cell Power or the other supplements?
Well, there's testing that can be done. One is using a system that's called resonance testing. Another is, it's a subtle energy. So the scale, when I'm talking about Cell Power, was the highest in energy of any food or any supplement for over 70 years. The only thing to surpass it is the new high energy C complex 1250. That's the only thing that's higher than Cell Power in the world. So the Bovis energy scale it's a subtle energy. It's not like you can plug yourself into, 120 volts in the wall and it's going to help you at all. But when you do your foot baths with people, it's
Right.
not just a detox. You're actually adding electricity to their body in one of the most gentle, amazing ways ever. So for a lot of people that are doing a weekly foot bath detox, I know I've probably done it with 4,000 people in the past. We have a lot of foot bath machines, but you need to have something that helps them keep the electricity level high in their body so they can do healing. And so a person that was doing a foot bath once a week would be taking Cell Power in their water the other 6 days of the week, and they would come in. But with the foot bath, what it's doing is it's energizing the water all around their feet. And because water is the medium that our body is made out of, we're up to 75% water if we're properly hydrated. What that means is that it transmits it to the body, it goes in, and that's what runs our entire body. I mean, if somebody is in a shopping mall or the airport and they're down on the ground and there's no pulse, the first thing they do is they pull out the defibrillator, right? Tell everybody to don't touch them, clear, and they're actually inducing electricity that's not a subtle way. That's not an easy
Definitely
thing on the
not.
body. And
Right.
yet that's what they would do, is basically to recharge the batteries. So we have a battery in each one of our cells. So we're running on 50 trillion batteries, and the batteries are made of ATP. Okay, so it's a chemical battery, but the ATP doesn't create the energy. it's just a way to store the energy. So we get energy from sunlight, we get it from sleeping at the proper amount of time, or at least closing our eyes. Even if we don't go to sleep, I tell people, just relax. You say, well, I was up all night and I couldn't sleep. Well, did you have your eyes closed? Were you
Or
assuming
did you scroll on the phone all night?
Yeah, yeah. Did you have your eyes closed? If you're deep breathing, I defy a person to stay awake at night if the room is dark, if they're deep breathing in a regular cycle, and if their eyes are closed. Okay, but if not, you're still going to get 90% of the benefit of sleep, even if you don't actually go into sleep. You have to have a high enough energy level for your body to allow you to sleep. So that's why coffee or any other number of things that people say, oh, it gave me too much energy, I couldn't sleep. Well, the second part is right, but the first part is wrong. It killed all your energy. It took so much energy out of your body that your body will not allow you to fall asleep.
No.
So you have to do things.
Burt, is that
energize.
similar to sugar? Like, so, not that I ever eat sugar, haha, but, you know, I remember like years ago, that whole Snickers bar hype where they would say, oh, you're about to play a game, you know, eat your Snickers and run the field. So is that similar to caffeine where it's really not giving you energy? It's like, you know, can you explain that whole sugar phenomenon that happens, like where people think that they feel good from it?
Well, it is a temporary energy boost, but then you drop lower, you crash. And unfortunately, that means that the more refined sugar and the more candy that you eat, the lower energy level you'll have by the end of the day. So yes, can it affect your ability to sleep? Definitely.
Okay.
Because anything that gives you a fake energy boost that's temporary will drop your energy level lower afterwards. That includes all kinds of colas and sodas. And it's interesting, people will say sugar-free. And then what they do to put inside of it for that feeling of sugar is actually more dangerous than the sugar itself. All of the sugar substitutes are just terrible.
That's right. And sometimes they're putting like 3 different artificial sweeteners in. It's disgusting. You would have been proud of me yesterday. I sat down with my son. So my son's age group of friends are about, 19 to 20. And I sat down with 5 of them yesterday explaining about, the energy drinks and even Gatorades, and how, one, because, they're all watching their money. Well, they should be, right? And then also hurting their health. And so it was surprising to me how 3 of them out of 5 were like, oh yeah, we knew that, we heard that. I was like, really awesome. I don't know who's spreading the information as well, but I really want to emphasize that almost on every show, that these energy companies are, preying on our young children. And that's the same thing. They start their day with it. No nutrition, no real energy, and they're depleting vital nutrients from their body because of it. So
and brain fluid from the cranium. That's the biggest thing that these fake energy drinks do. And I have to always say fake energy because it doesn't provide any actual energy. And that's the difficult part. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, it's crazy, but when did 0 calories become a good thing?
Right.
because calorie is a measure of energy. So the fact that people will pay more and say, oh no, it's 0 calories, that's really good for me. And I'm thinking, I always compare that to somebody at the, at the gasoline station with their car. If you pull up and you get regular and it's like 85 octane, it's a measurement of how much energy that it's going to give your car. And certain cars need to have, the premium, and so you pay more. And so it's like 89 or 92 octane. If a gas station said, hey, well, for $10 a gallon, we're going to give you 0 octane, pull up here and fill your car. So you fill your car and then you try to start it and you have to have somebody tow you away from the gas pump.
Right.
That's what we're looking at when people are avoiding. And it's really only the United States that uses the term calories or kilocalories. Now, what it actually is if it's calories with a capital C, then it's 1,000 calories. So if you've got a little mini Snickers bar at 90 calories, you're actually having 90,000 calories. So,
you teach me
okay,
something on every show. I did not know that.
they're
Okay.
dropping it because if you saw 90,000, you'd be going, oh no, everybody's
Right.
dropping it. They wouldn't eat it. But calories
Or
are
maybe they still would, Burt. I don't know.
but you've got in every other country, instead of calories on the food package, they use the measurement of joules, Joules, which is a measurement of electricity.
Wow.
Because it's
And I have
energy.
seen that when I've traveled. I have seen that. Oh, wow.
Every
Okay.
other country. And now in the US, you're allowed to add a joules right after the calorie, but they won't let you get rid of this kilocalories, which is camouflaged.
Okay.
It's 300
So
calories. Now
bogus
it's
like all
actually
the other stuff.
300,000.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but with kilojoules, which is what you're having, that means you've got, it's a measurement energy. It's just to remind us that we want to have energy. That's what we want to purchase. We don't want to purchase something that is no energy. And a lot of the drinks that use, they use the sucralose is the
they
chemical
all
name.
use that. Oh, it's
Okay.
disgusting. Yeah.
Well, and then it'll say 0 calories in sucralose, and that's not what it is at all. Sucralose actually has more calories than regular sugar. So why are they allowed to put 0 calories on there? Because it's a poison sugar. It's a chlorinated sugar. So what they do is they know that your cell membranes, at least if they're healthy at all, the membrane that surrounds each cell is going to close to try to keep out poisons. So since it's keeping the chlorinated sugar out of your cells, it's never really using the calories that it contains. And so they're able to say 0 calories. And you say, well, it doesn't have 0 calories. It goes, but that's the net effect. They're basically admitting, oh yes, your cells will never actually use this product. It tastes sweet on the tongue, okay, but it will be rejected. Now, if you have low energy levels or very sick cells, they will actually let this chlorinated sugar into the cell, which kills the cell instantly.
Oh
So you're
my
taking something
gosh.
that will just destroy your health.
And Burt,
And
it has to be addictive too, because my sister, who really is sharp, she is a smart woman, and she is so addicted to that Splenda, that sucralose stuff. And I tell her, and she just literally has to have it in her coffee every morning. And it's breaking my heart. I mean, but carry on.
Originally, it was designed as an insecticide, so it's still good for that. I always tell people that if you're there at a restaurant and they've got the little free packets and you pull out the yellow one that has the brand name on it and has the sucralose, you can always take it home to your kitchen and put it around where the ants are and things like that, and it'll all kill them.
Oh,
And then you have to realize that those insects that you're killing are much larger than one of your individual cells. So hopefully your cells are doing their job and keeping the poison out. But you've got that kind of stuff going on and people buying it. And you're right. Yep. How do you talk to somebody and say, hey, you're killing yourself? They're like, just leave me alone. Let me put it in my coffee.
This is my habit, and I've noticed too, they sneak it in with products that look fantastic on the label, like you said, 0, 0 calories, no fat, no sugar, no this. And they'll say like with stevia or with monk. Mm-hmm. And then on the back, they're adding the Splenda, the sucralose. It's like, talk about deceptive marketing, and of course with pictures of nice beautiful plants and fruits on the front. It's people have to be so careful. So Burt, I'm going to interrupt for a second because I just thought of another question a loyal listener asked. So how do you know what your prescription meds side effects are? They're on their own website. So if you're listening, remember all your prescription meds, the side effects are on the actual prescription's website. So if you feel like you don't want to have second party information, you can see all the side effects there. Now, as far as if all the different, if you're taking 7 different meds and they have all different side effects, then usually you use your doctors or naturopaths or your clinical nutritionists like Burt, help kind of deciphering how those are working. For instance, Burt, this was a crazy story. The listener was having dizzy spells daily, all 7 prescriptions. Dizziness was the first side effect of all 7 of the prescriptions that they were on. So no wonder they were feeling dizzy every day. So again, and if you have anything to add to this conversation, I welcome it, because it's very frustrating each day. All the prescriptions that our well-meaning customers are on, and they're not guided by their different doctors, their whole tribe, to help guide them with all the side effects that they're getting from them.
See, I'm dizzy every day, and it has nothing to do with prescription.
Well, I'm just going to be kind and not say another word to that. So, Burt, do you have, I know I totally went off topic, but do you have anything to add to that? We'll have 2 minutes and then we'll go on a break.
Just that the first thing to look at when you're experiencing dizziness, I mean, well, I guess look at your prescriptions, but after that, what's really causing it in most cases is that the mineral levels are falling too low. Okay, your electrolytes are low, and when somebody says electrolytes are low, they're going to try to reach for some Gatorade type drink for electrolytes, and that's not really the way to get it. But that would be the first thing to look at. But if you've got plenty of electrolytes, plenty of minerals, you're not on medications that have their first side effect, dizziness, then what I discovered in the last 2 or 3 years is that you can have so much tension and stress that's all focused at the base of the skull that the muscles will get knots, and they're so tight that it will cut off the blood flow, either going into the brain or cut off the return of the veins coming back out of the head. So if you can go and get deep tissue massage, and especially if you have somebody that's skilled in doing that deep tissue massage right around the base of the skull and getting rid of all those knots, you will feel immediately. I remember when I first had that done, the dizziness disappeared from the moment of that massage on. So I called people all over the country to let them know that if they've already done all of the other things, and they've got their electrolytes up and they've done everything else, then try to make sure that you don't have knotted muscles restricting circulation.
That is a fantastic idea. And sometimes people try to overthink it to be something super complicated, but you're right. Those neck tension, and our massage therapist in the wellness center, she's actually spending this weekend, instead of working, but doing continuing education units. And she's doing 3 days specializing with the lymphatic system. I'm like, wow, she's going to come back. I mean, 3 full intensive days on the lymph system. Love it. And so that's great advice. And the side effect for most blood pressure drugs is electrolyte imbalance. And sometimes, we'll just give you a little potassium to make up for it. And I'm like, oh no, there's more electrolytes than just a little potassium. But yeah, so that's a great advice. Check out your electrolytes, make sure you're hydrated, and then definitely, work on that neck tension. And we're all, we're on devices. So we wouldn't be surprised if we're, having a lot of neck tension. So Greg, you want us to take a break? Yep. All right. So we will be right back, Burt. Just a quick break.
Okay.
Hi, this is Joanne from Nutrition World and Wellness Center. I am really excited to introduce new guests and topics to my show every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. here on WPSL, where my listeners can call in on any topic. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to find it. We want to help you become the best version of yourself. We'll have naturopaths, coaches, and of course, Dr. Ravi will be here every month as usual. I am looking forward to sharing my years of experience with my listeners so we can enjoy this life journey together.
Visit Joanne's Nutrition World in the Krass Square, formerly known as the Arcade Building, located at US 1 and Orange Avenue, across from Fort Pierce City Hall. Open Monday through Friday from 10 to 4, Saturdays 10 to 3. Taking appointments for the Wellness Center online at joannesnutritionworld.com or call 772-464-3598.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
It's 10:32 at WPSL 1590. The talk of the Treasure Coast. Oh boy. This guy is
you
blowing
forgot
me
where
away.
you're like, no more Splenda
Wait a
for
minute.
me.
I said, pardon me, I have to turn around and reach for my Splenda. Oh.
You want me to finish it? Hey, we're here with Joanne's World of Nutrition and her guest today, Burt Goulding Jr.
I've got
Hey,
Splenda overload.
maybe I should change occupations and become a
There you
radio
go.
show engineer, right?
There you go.
All right. So, this is fun. I love having fun, right? Laughter, the best medicine. Keep that in your toolbox. All right. So we are here with Burt, and he's just blowing our minds with all I love how he just says it so casually, like, oh, like everyone should know all this stuff. Yeah.
Well, and the calorie thing, I have never heard that.
Right. I know. Well, I tell all my clients, I do not want them counting calories. Like I said, if it's real food, then you're allowed it. If it's not, then no. But so one of the things, Burt, we're talking about energy, and it is, such a simple subject, but sometimes overcomplicated in our world. But if I'm wrong with what I'm about to say, please correct me. I will take no offense. But for years, 30 years or more, I usually have no B complexes on my store shelves other than a couple coenzymated versions, okay? Because I was taught by who knows who at this point that when you take a synthetic B vitamin, your body has to use so much energy to break it down and make it actually something usable. But when you told me you had a B complex available, I brought it in right away, and it's called Positive Power Nutritionals Anti-Stress B Complex Power 90. And I love what you say on the bottom: be calm, be peaceful, be focused. I mean, that's, I think, the goal of every human. You want to be focused. You don't want to be jumping out of your skin, but you want to be productive, but you want to be calm at the same time. So, I mean, ever who thought of that, Burt? That was good. That was really good. So can you tell me, one, if I'm correct in what I just said, and two, how your B complex will fulfill, because I just read your sheet on it, and it sounds very promising, like what all the Bs do. And we can go through each B. We do have time. Why people do need B vitamins in their life.
If you need coenzyme with your B, it's usually because it's synthetic. It's the same thing with methylated Bs. So we have a lot of products that we've seen that go out to doctors' offices and they say, oh no, this is much better. But it's because they're not starting with a food source B, which of course is a lot more expensive. It's a lot harder to get that. But the anti-stress B complex Power 90, the reason that we're saying Power 90 is that it has approximately 90 milligrams of all of the major B vitamins in each capsule. Now,
that's why the 90. Okay.
Yeah, Power 90, and we wanted to put the power there because we didn't want them to think, oh, I thought there were 90 capsules in the bottle, because there's only 60 capsules in the bottle.
Okay.
That's a 2-month supply.
And you love the word power too, so.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, because it's so different. I mean, there's an amazing book written, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 years ago, and it's called Power versus Force. It's just an amazing, if you get a chance to read that, there's, this idea of empowerment, meaning that you're helping give power to your body or to another person. You're empowering them to do what they want to do. Force is when you're saying, you're going to do what I'm telling you to do, and if you don't, I'm going to punish you. And so
This
you've
is a
got this.
father of 10 children saying this. You're such a wise man, Bert. That is so true. It's so true. Yep.
Well, and because of that, you want, positive power nutrition is that what actually keeps the body in balance is to put enough good, positive uh, things, meaning positive electromagnetic charge. So that would be good acids. So everybody else saying avoid all acids, it's no, there are bad acids, like colas and coffees and teas and tobacco and fake sugars and table sugar, which is processed to death. They take sugar cane or they take sugar beet and then they run it through 10 or 12 stages in which they keep adding heavy metals to it
Oh, God.
because it's sold by the pound. If you've ever, if you've ever picked up the 5-pound bag of sugar at the store now, it's about 2/3 the size that it was when I was growing up. Well, then how did 5 pounds change? No, it's just that rather than being just sugar, it's a huge percentage of heavy metals because it's sold by the pound. So they just keep blending it in, and heavy
Wow.
metals are almost
Okay.
free.
Poor
So,
Greg, his jaw is on the ground now. He's like, just like,
oh
really.
no,
See, I never
you,
buy sugar, so I didn't notice that. But oh,
oh
wow.
yeah, it's getting a lot smaller, and you don't have to believe, Burt Goulding. You don't. You just go to the Discovery Channel on the internet, go into their archives, and see if you can go back to their entire episode, TV episode on making sugar, and it actually shows all the steps. And
Oh
it
my God.
starts
I'm
out with
watching it tonight.
they're grinding it up, and then they're adding in, all this aluminum, and I'm kind of just shocked. And then they have to bleach it white again because it looks like an aluminum color. And then it goes through and it shows you this entire thing and saying, and that's how your sugar is made. And after that, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Oh
And
my gosh.
so you want to get just raw cane sugar or raw beet sugar if you're going to use sugar. It's not that sugar itself is so bad. It's just that we have such a huge quantity of it, or it's poisoned. And
Right.
so, you've got the little pink packets at the restaurant, which is your aspartame, right? And you've got the little blue packets, which is another poison
Yeah.
sugar. I mean, they almost
Wow.
all.
And there's, I can't believe they're still selling them. I mean,
Yeah,
ugh.
yeah. And it's I don't know. I feel like I've gotten way away from your question.
That's okay. So it tells us more reason why we need the anti-stress B complex power 90. So you were about to say how it's food-based and why it's so incredible.
Well, yeah, because you want to look. There was a very expensive doctor's formula of Bs, and most everything in it was methylated. But then the very first one, B1, thiamine, it said that it was thiamine mononitrate. And I'm going, well, wait a second. You're trying to say all these wonderful things you've done to your, methylated coenzymes, everything. And then the very first one you have is a deadly poison called thiamine mononitrate. It's a synthetic. But the worst part about it is when you have synthetic B vitamins or any synthetic vitamin is that it will go into the space where the real B vitamin should be, and it takes up that space, right? And so it's being pulled into the body because it's like, well, it's close. We know it's not real, but it's close.
Oh my gosh.
And so you want to make sure that it's food-based. And so what we do is we do the Bovis energy testing. It was based on Jacques Bovis, a physicist in France, just an amazing person that was able to say there is a subtle energy scale. And so just as a point of reference, purified water, reverse osmosis water comes in at about 6,500 on that scale. Out of all the foods, it turns out that meat and dairy, even if it's very, very clean and raised properly, is a lower energy level than grains if they're clean and grown properly. And grains are lower than vegetables, and vegetables are lower than fruit. So at the very pyramid of energy, they should create a food pyramid that has energy. And so you've got the fruit at the very top. What holds the world record is a fresh picked raspberry that was tested just a couple of minutes after it was picked off the vine, and it was 26,500 on the scale. The reason I mention that is you go, okay, if really clean water is 6,500 and all of the bottled waters from the soft drink companies come in at about 2,000 or 2,500, the problem with that is that anything that's below 6,500 actually drains your body of energy. It pulls it out of you.
Oh, I
So
gotcha.
that means
Okay.
the more bottles of bottled water that are only at 2,500, and I don't know, have any idea what the soft drink companies do to destroy the water and bring it down that low. But the more bottles you drink, you're saying, oh, I'm going to get hydrated. And then you keep drinking this at 2,500, is that it's pulling energy out of your body. If you did enough of that, you'd be in bed, not able to even get out of bed because you'd lack the energy to move around and have a normal functioning day. So if the highest of all the foods is 26,500, you have something like the B complex that we're talking about, the anti-stress B complex Power 90 comes in at 4 million.
Wow.
Each capsule. Okay. I've been taking 4 capsules a day, and maybe we already talked about this last time. I can't recall.
That's okay. It's
we've
all
had
right.
this
We might have a new
conversation.
listener. No problem.
Okay. Is that, when I was tested by my practitioner as to what I needed to have, he said, well, first of all, you're going to need to take the positive energy boosters, that herbal formula that actually helps the adrenals recover from the stress. 5 of those a day. Well, I would normally only take 1 or 2 a month. I would only do it if I was going to stay up really late or have to drive all night or something like that. But he says, you need what's in it. 5 a day. Well, 5 a day, that's like 150 capsules a month. And then he came back and he said, oh, and the new B complex you have, you need to take 4 of those a day. I said, 4 of those a day? I mean, that's what a person would take if they were super stressed. I said, I don't think I'm stressed. And he said, yeah, you are. and then I went and talked to coworkers, and I said, I was dosed to take 4 of these a day. So every 4 hours, I'm taking a B complex, and normally it's 1 a day. So I've taken 4 a day. I talk to my coworkers. I don't think I'm that stressed. They go, oh yeah, Burt, you are.
Oh, that's so funny.
What? Then I talked to my wife, and she goes, oh, definitely you are. And I, okay.
Wow.
So
yeah, I think my family might agree with this conversation.
Well, and so you take these things, and first you've got the B vitamins, which a lot of people say, well, it gave me this extra energy. Well, it's helping your body deal with the stress so well, because what takes stress out of your body, what takes energy out of your body, even more than coffee or tobacco or black tea, is bottled up unresolved stress. I mean, when I first tested my pH and found out that I was at 5.25, this was 18 years ago, and I kept thinking, but I'm not doing any of the things that would give me. The only thing I had is I had severe stress, bottled up unresolved stress. So
wow, that is such a great testimonial. And by the way, you just mentioned testing pH. Matthew and I tested ours, and it was perfect. It was perfect. I can't tell you how excited I got. I was like, yay, we haven't been perfect. So that's a testimonial to the cell power, is that we are definitely not perfect. We try our best. And yes, we do probably eat better than the average person, but definitely not perfect. But the cell power definitely is keeping us in range each week. And we're only testing once a week, but like you suggested, not to get obsessed with it. But wow, it really made me feel so excited. So
once your body is in the pH balanced range, which is anywhere from 7.1 to 7.5, if you're in that range 2 weeks in a row, then it tends to stay there unless you do something that's really throwing it out of range. And when a person is able to get rid of all of those 7 highly acid forming substances, from coffee down to bottled up stress and
you
fake
keep
sugars
bringing up
and
coffee,
carbonated.
Burt. Oh my god!
Well, no, just because it's at the top of that list. In other words, it takes only just a half a cup of coffee to mess a person up. But cell power can help you overcome that, even for a person that still drinks some coffee. But what would happen is, if you want to get to the point where you don't have to take cell power all the time, maybe once a week or maybe even not take it for a while, then you need to have eliminated those highly acid forming sources, and add in the good acids. You've got to have more citrus that we just peel and eat. We have fresh squeezed citrus juice that we squeeze ourselves right there in the kitchen.
Right.
We need to have more apple cider vinegar, more fresh onions, more fresh garlic. If we're going to have meats, make sure that it's grass fed, and not just grass fed, because now you have all the companies grass finished. Did we talk about that last time?
Yeah, well, I try to bring it up almost every week on my show, because now, like, as always, the marketing company knows what people want to see. So they'll just say grass fed, but they'll plump them up the last few months with all this disgusting glyphosate grain and oats and candy. And so I always tell people, you know how you know the real stuff? It's twice as expensive.
Yeah.
It is, unfortunately, but we do have a local butcher that does raise their cows correctly. So we are blessed in our area. So Best Choice Meats has good quality meat. A little plug for them. So but it's, as always, they're taking advantage of a little marketing point. So, Bert. All right. Go ahead. You have more?
B vitamin. I just want to say one more thing.
Okay.
Is that if you want to know, well, how do I know I'm low on my B vitamins? It would be if you have all of the B vitamins that your body needs, and somebody comes into your office or wherever you work during the day and says, oh, by the way, somebody just bumped into your car in the parking lot. So they kind of scraped at the side of your car. And if a person just absolutely goes ballistic and just freaks out, and everybody's like, well, what's wrong with them? They're overreacting, right? That's what we say. The person overreacted. It's because their B vitamins are so low. If you have all the B vitamins you need, and somebody comes in and say, oh, okay, well, that's a shame. Give me a minute, I'll go out and look at it, and see what the damage is. It's just, how can we handle the stress?
Oh, I love it. That's such a great reference. Love
and
it.
On the bottle for the bees, one of the things I just love this question, because the scientific community is divided up kind of half and half. So all I do is ask the question. I'm not going to take sides. I say, do natural B vitamins actually reduce the negative stress we are experiencing? Or do sufficient levels of these powerful nutrients just help us deal better with high levels of stress? So that's the question, is that some people say, oh, it lowers your stress. Others say, no, it doesn't. It just helps you deal better with it. Either way, it says, try the anti-stress B complex Power 90 and truly enjoy calm, inner peace, and improved focus even on the roughest days.
I love it. I love it. And definitely it's going to be added to our regimen. And if any of my listeners are curious what all the B vitamins do, definitely come into the store. I have a wonderful sheet, and I'm sure Burt has it also on positivepowernutrition.com, because each B vitamin, when you read its description, you're going to be like, whoa, that sounds important. I mean, red and white blood cell formation, antioxidants, maintaining healthy intestinal flora, brain, liver, hormones. So we don't have time to go over each one now, because I realize we got to talk about one of the other new items I brought in. So, Burt, digestion is a big deal, at least in my store. Most people are coming in feeling that they don't even want to eat anymore because the digestive system either is feeling always gassy, bloated, acid reflux, they're constipated, or they're having just so many digestive issues. So I definitely, I'm hoping that your digestive energy, pepsin, can help them a little or a lot.
It's all about energy. And this is what's interesting, is that out of all of the things that the human body does, the most energy intensive thing that we do is the digestive process. So almost all of us can remember, that this was handed down from our grandparents or our parents, is that we had a big meal and then we wanted to go out and jump in the swimming pool and go swim. And they said, no, you have to wait a couple of hours because you're not supposed to go swimming right after you eat. Well, why is that? Because the energy that you would need for your arm and leg muscles to tread water, stay afloat, swim, not drown, that energy is being drawn away over to the digestion system. And what takes up the most electrical energy in the body is digestion. Now, out of all of the hundreds of different functions involved in that energy drain that we call digestion, the one that takes the most energy is creating pepsin. because it's created our own natural pepsin, which is a really strong enzyme, much stronger than protease in breaking down proteins. The pepsin is made in glands lining the stomach. Okay, so it's in the lining of the stomach, these glands, and it just takes a lot of energy. So if we don't have all the energy that we would like to have, I'm not talking about fake energy where you feel, energized for an hour or two and then you crash. I'm talking about if you don't have all the real energy you need, then digestive energy pepsin, it is a vegan form of pepsin. Almost everything else that's sold as a supplement comes from hog stomachs. That's where they harvest it from, because again, pepsin glands in the stomach. So it will definitely help people. I tell somebody, if you have had a meal and you're starting to feel like, I feel like I'm going to be bloated, go ahead and take 1 capsule of the digestive energy pepsin with a glass of water, and you'll find that the bloating starts to clear up before it even forms.
Okay. Is that what the normal, or should you just do it each day? Like when with your other supplements, and just do only one if you need it extra, like another, am I making sense? So
Yeah. Do you need to do it on a daily basis? Not really, but I do have a good friend. He's 77 years old, and he really wants to take care of his body. And he was on medication for acid reflux. And he said, well, when I started taking the digestive energy pepsin every day, one a day, I go, well, I don't usually take it every day. I only take it when I've had some food that I haven't had in a year. Anytime that my body wouldn't have the proper enzymes to break down that food, I'll take 1 capsule, 1 per day. Well, he was doing it every day of the week, and he said, I no longer have the symptoms of acid reflux. So that's what he had noticed. I'm not saying that it doesn't cure disease, it doesn't do any of these things. What I'm saying is that as a help to his body, it's all about energy. You only have a certain amount of energy, so you can only spend it in one place or the other.
okay.
So with this, it's a help to do it every single day. I know people that do that, but for me, I just do it if I'm feeling like, I shouldn't have had a second serving of dinner. When you really like your food, I mean, you only have it once a year. My wife will do these homemade enchiladas once a year, and so I'll tend to have a second and a third helping. But as soon as I do that, I go, my body's going to need help.
Pepsin, yeah. So I love it, and I've always been a fan of pepsin, and hopefully, I've always taken it with HCl because that's the formulas I carry have HCl with them. Do you have a viewpoint on that?
Well, I always tell people, if you need extra HCl, then just buy a bottle of that, right? And you probably have that separately in your store.
Yeah.
Just the HCl, but not everyone needs extra HCl. The problem with it is if you mix HCl with the pepsin and it breaks down before it hits the stomach, it's going to create problems because HCl plus pepsin means it's already activated. The digestive energy pepsin is not activated until it hits the acid in your stomach. So it's completely safe in your throat. You don't have to worry about, some of the, we have vegan capsules that are made from fermented tapioca starch. They're the clearest, cleanest capsules you can possibly have with the powder in there. But if you hold it in your mouth for 3 or 4 minutes, it's going to start to dissolve the capsule. So at least if that happens, this pepsin is not going to be problematic, whereas if it has HCl with it, it could be.
I totally understand now. That makes total sense. All right, so we have about 4 minutes left. Now, I figured this would be appropriate because we're talking about energy, and I think all the listeners understand the energy concept now. So you mentioned your specialist that was helping you with your unknown stress levels suggested the energy boosters to you. So I do love this, and like it has no caffeine, no ephedra, no guarana, and I love how you say only the right stuff. So can you spend a few minutes on the positive energy boosters and why they're so much better than doing, like we were talking about the sugary drinks, the energy drinks, the $10 coffee drinks?
Yes, on it when it says no added caffeine means that we haven't added any caffeine, any white powder in it. There is a very, very small natural caffeine that's in the herbs themselves, but it has more theobromine which then more than offsets it. So that's a whole discussion by itself. I'll have to send you the thing for anybody that's curious. But the herbs are just amazing, and it's a formula that really we can't miss anything. For a while, they're saying it doesn't look like you're going to be able to get the mullein leaf. It's just not available. And people said, well, just make it without it. And I go, no, there's been over 3 billion capsules sold on this. Okay, and in 43 years, it's like the #1 selling real energy product. It has yerba mate leaf, which again has a small amount of caffeine in the yerba mate, but it's more than balanced out with the theobromine. Go to cola leaf, panax ginseng, cola seed, yellow dock root, echinacea, English hawthorn berry, fotai root, licorice, ginger, mullein, spirulina, eleuther root, which used to be called Siberian ginseng, papaya fruit, pepsin, the same as in the digestive energy pepsin. That was one of the things that we were not going to be able to continue making this if we couldn't get a good pepsin that was not animal based. Bee pollen and cayenne fruit, and it has vitamin B12, the methylcobalamin, 150 micrograms, and it has niacin, 17 milligrams. So this is an amazing product. In the very beginning, it was mainly being purchased by long-haul truck drivers, those that would be, taking our goods from coast to coast and have to drive all night. They would be taking this instead of drinking coffee or having no dose or something like that, because this would keep them alert, mentally awake, so they wouldn't run off the road and kill somebody. But at the same time, if they changed their mind and wanted to pull over and sleep in the back of their cab or sleep at a hotel, it would allow them to sleep without keeping them up. And so this was being used by trucking companies all over the country. Now it's being used mostly by working mothers that still have to go.
Moms.
Still, they put in a full day at work, and then they still have to go home and help the kids with homework and do whatever laundry and prepare dinner and all this other stuff. And they would just rave about this. They go, man, it gave me all the energy I wanted to. And then when I wanted to go to sleep, put my head on my pillow, close my eyes, and I'm right out, because it's true energy. And if the energy level is high enough in your body, then you're able to sleep.
Burt, well, perfect ending. What an awesome show. Thank you so much. I think all the listeners are clear now how many amazing products that you have. So Positive Power Nutrition, and you can go to positivepowernutrition.com if you want more info. Lots of literature. Burt, always a pleasure. Have an amazing week.